Addams family, let's do this. All right, everybody, let's get into it. This is the Addams family intro. All right, we'll talk about the chord progression too in a minute, but let's do the intro. So the general rule that I advise people is try to use your pointer finger on the first fret, your middle finger on the second fret, your ring finger on the third fret, and if you need the fourth fret, try to use your pinky. It's just a general rule. Sometimes it doesn't work out to do that, but for this particular one, it'll work. And also for this particular one, we will not be using our pinky. We don't get it to the fourth fret at all in this instrumental, but just a general rule, all right? For those who aren't familiar with tabs, if you look at it, it is, you read all 4 lines left to right. So the first thing we're gonna do is hit the open string on the C string, right? Giant cockroaches eat apples, right? Giant cockroaches eat apples. We're gonna hit the open C string right there, right? And then right after that, we're gonna go to the second fret. That's what that 2 stands for, second fret on the C string. We're gonna use our middle finger for that. And then we're gonna go right to the E string, open, right here. We're hitting this string right here, open. And then we're gonna go to the first fret, which we're gonna use our pointer finger for. And then there's 2 X's. All that means is we're gonna snap or tap. And if you're performing this song for friends or a nursing home or anything like that, or even if you have a group that plays this, you guys can snap or tap. If people aren't good snappers, they can clap, slap their knee, whatever they want to do, as long as it's in time, right? So that's what all the X's stand for. So let's try that again. O on the C string, second fret on the C string, O on the E string, pointer finger on the first fret of the E string, and then snap, snap. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and just for practice, let's do it over and over again. In this particular instrumental, this part only repeats at the end of the instrumental, right before you go back into it again at the beginning of the next one. So you will be able to apply this, but it doesn't do that anywhere else except for at the end, back into the beginning. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I went to the second section. So stop the video if you need to and just practice that section over and over again. You don't need to practice with me. Go as slow as you need to, as consistently as you need to, then come back and listen to what I'm doing and be like, all right, is that right? If that's right, you got it. All right. So we will have a little bit more of a play along later on. So now let's go to the second section. This time we're going to start with our middle finger on the second fret of the C string. And then we're going to go right to the E string with O and then second fret and third fret. So middle finger on the second fret of the E string and then ring finger on the third fret of the E string and then snap, snap. All right, here we go. 2, O, 2, 3. So that's it. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing, let's practice that over and over again. If you need to, pause it, practice it, and then come back and play along, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. The hardest part of the song for me after learning the instrumental is not the snapping, but getting back to wherever you are to pick and make sure you hit the right string right off the thing. Now, when I played a nursing home, I extend my arm into the air. I know you can't see me, but I extend it in the air to let everybody know in the whole audience, no matter where they're sitting, that's where we're snapping. And then I got to put my hand back here and then hopefully hit the right string and keep everything in time and stuff. I definitely mess up a lot, but as long as I'm hitting notes in time, it doesn't really matter. But obviously, it gets a little bit more difficult when you're doing this with a group. Like if you're performing with 2 or 3 or 7 or 12 more ukuleleists, if everyone is not hitting it in time and not snapping in time, it will definitely get derailed. So if there are certain people that just can't get the instrumental, they can hold out both hands and snap to let the whole audience know to snap at the right time. But the more people get involved in that, without some really good practice, it can get derailed pretty easily. All right, so for this instrumental, there's really only 2 sections. There's the first section, which we did, and the second section, and that's it. The third section is identical to the second section, except for there's no snaps. Same with the fourth section. It's the same as the second and third section, no snaps. And then the last section is identical to the first section with the snaps. Now, when it starts over, you have to make sure you do the first section again. Sometimes people get to the 5th section, it's the same as the first section, and they just go right into the second section. You got to do the 5th section, then go right back to the first section again, and then the second section, third section, fourth section. The best way to practice it is to play the whole thing over and over and over again. And don't even start the song. Just keep doing it over and over and over again. All right? So I'm going to show you how to do it. And you can play along if you want. If you want, you can listen to it, rewind it, then play along. Whatever you want to do. All right? But watch the fingering, right? I'm only using my middle finger on the 2nd fret, ring finger on the 3rd fret, pointer finger on the 1st fret. All right? 1, 2. I'm going to play the whole thing twice. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go right into the song. They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and nooky, right? So that's going to take some practice, especially if you're playing with others, where to start. They're creepy and they're kooky. Now the F actually doesn't start till creepy. So if you have a leader in your group, or if one particular person wants to lead this particular song, you can say the word, they're creepy and, right? So that way everybody knows we're strumming on creepy. They're creepy and they're kooky, right? So everybody can jump in. All right, so the next level, next part of this that is difficult is if you go down to, after the second verse, you go into the instrumental again, all right? And so you have to practice that as well, is going from that last F chord on Addams Family. Now, one way you can make that a lot easier on yourself is that F, that Addams Family, just strum it once. The rest of them are going, they're creepy and you can strum it twice, right? Really kind of scream, the Addams Family. Just strum that F chord once, and that gives you a little extra time to get your hand ready, both hands ready, to do, all right? So that's the next level, is to practice that line, the last line of the second verse, into the instrumental part again. And then also, you can have people in your group over the snaps going neat, sweet, petite, right? That might be a lot for somebody doing the instrumental part and then also saying neat, sweet, petite at the right time. So just figure out what works best for you and just make it work. All right, so here's the next level. Same thing, the next verse, it goes to another F, but the word right before F is so put a witch's shawl on, right? So that could be everybody's cue. So, and then everyone strum on put, sorry. So put your witch's shawl on, right? And then same thing at the end of the fourth verse. It goes, they're all together, Ookie, the Addams family. And the same thing. You got to be ready to go right into the instrumental. And then you could do the instrumental twice at the end. You could do whatever you want. Once you learn it, you do whatever you want. If you only want to do the instrumental once at the very beginning, that's fine. Once in the middle, and then once at the end, totally. You could do it twice every time, whatever you want to do. As long as you and your group or whoever you're playing with know what's going on. It'll be fine. So let's look at the chords. We sort of skirted over the chords a little bit. I know most of you know an F, right? C7, you all know. There's only 3 chords in the whole song. The other one is a G minor 7. This is not as common. This is the way I play it. I put my pointer finger across the two strings of E and A, the strings that are closest to the floor, and then I reach my middle finger over to the 2nd fret of the C string, but I leave the G string open. That is a G minor 7. There you go. It's got a cool feel, right? So your pointer finger's already in the right spot. You're starting with the F, and all you have to do is flatten it out. And as long as it's on those 2 strings, that'll work. And then you just move this finger over one, right? Just practice that back and forth. Trying to get a good angle for you. I'm flattening this finger out over 2 strings. And then C7, you just roll back a little bit further. The tip of your pointer finger is on the 1st fret of the A string. And that's a C7. And then it goes right back to the F. And all I did was roll my hand back, pointer finger back on the string it needs to be for the F. So F, F, G minor 7, C7, F, F, G minor. Creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together, Ookie, the Addams family. That's basically the whole shebang. That's the whole song. There's really only 3 verses also because the 4th verse, it just repeats it. Now, if you look up the whole song, over the years, there's different verses and stuff like that. Add whatever you want. Do whatever you want. But that's the instrumental in the key of F. So if your group does it in a different key already, and you're like, oh, we'll just add the instrumental to what we do. We don't need Kirk's thing. It won't work unless it's in the key of F. Then you got to reconfigure and figure out what instrumental notes you need for your key. So I hope that helps. Hope you have fun. Happy Halloween.